Hey guys, it's Wednesdays, and you know what that means?
Every day I see my dream. Every day I see my dream.
Yes, so this week's topic is trans people in the media, and the two of the people that have made videos have talked about how there's like celebrities in the media, but I'm going to take a different approach to it. I'm going to talk about how it affects the community and how people look at it because of trans people in the media. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the talk shows and how they always show that there's trans children, and that's the first thing that people see is that, oh, it's trans kids. So and they always show that the kids were like, trapped in the wrong body. They transitioned when they were children and stuff like that, which is just fitting into the female and male binary, right? This is the binary right here. It makes everything look like it's in a binary. Like you have to fit into male or female. You can't be like in the middle. There are so many different parts of being trans, and starting with that is not like the only part, and they should really broaden it out. How Maury does have that, is it a man or a woman thing, which is absolutely horrible. Where they bring out people who appear to be female, and then they have the audience vote on them to see if what they think and that they say if they were born male or female. It's just incredibly horrible that people have these views, but there are a lot of views from the second wave feminists that bring out a message that is just completely against, a, kind of against trans people, because usually, not all, would say that you need to reclaim your female body and you need to feel comfortable, etc. Um, an example would be the blog. That's it. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but that's it. If you know what I'm talking about, good for you. But yeah, it's all about like reclaiming your female identity and not fitting into, and fitting into you're either male or you're female, um, which obviously gives out a wrong message to people who are in the middle, who are identify as trans but not completely, like someone like me, or someone like so many other people on YouTube. So I'm just gonna talk about Oprah really quick and how she had that pregnant trans guy on, and how there were a lot of people who were against that, and it's good that Oprah put that on her show. But yeah, seeing a different view of trans person in a different way did get people like confused and like not understanding the stuff, but I think it opened a lot more minds since Oprah did it, and Oprah's so influential, you know what I mean? And we never noticed how, and this might sound a bit weird, but just follow me on this, how there there are a lot of people, on a lot of trans people on YouTube, and that's a huge media. And if anybody ever like accidentally went on our videos, they would see the entire community, which is good. But what when you're in the trans community, you notice certain things. Like for example, people of different ethnic backgrounds have less subscribers than like someone like me who's white. I know it sounds like really weird, but I've noticed it. Me and my roommates were talking about this, and we've noticed it that there is a cultural barrier, and why that is, I think one of the main reasons we were talking about this, and when I say I mean we, as me and my roommates, um, that, and we've noticed that in the media itself, when they do portray trans people, trans men especially, they're only white. Um, I don't think I've ever seen a non-white. No, I don't think I've ever seen a trans guy in the media, in the mainstream media, that wasn't of a different ethnic background. I don't think at all, and I think that really just brings out a point that they just want to, the people who do show trans people in the media, they just want to show um, one part of it so that people can relate to it and maybe understand it better. But still, that's just horrible. They should include a lot more people, because there's not just white people who are trans. But for the MTF perspective, because I also want to touch on that as well, they do show a lot more MTFs on television, I find, than FTMs. Um, and when they do show them, they're either they're like either fully transitioned, or they're in their transition, or they're completely being made a fool of. They're the joke of the story, um, which sucks. Like in Maury, like I was talking before, like that's just horrible. As well, I want to talk about how in the media as well, again, okay, as well, I keep saying as well, when you see an FTM, I know I'm talking about FTM, I'm sorry for all the MTFs that watch. For FTMs, they are always almost as well again, always portrayed as being straight. So, which means that before they were lesbians, right? But you almost rarely ever see a FTM who's fully gay and who was a straight woman before. I'm going to talk about this briefly because it's not something that we should talk about that much because everyone's already seen it. Max from the L Word was a lesbian. And then when he started testosterone and started transitioning, which went by really fast, but whatever, it was portrayed really differently. And then he started liking men. And then he got pregnant. Whatever, we won't talk about that. But the way they showed Max was like, he goes home, his family doesn't accept him. Jenny is thinking that men are the enemy, not accepting. He goes to work, he doesn't feel like he's being accepted because his girlfriend doesn't accept him for free. They're showing the negative aspects of being trans. Also, when Alice is interviewing Max for the podcast, Shane is filming, and she's just filming them having the interview, but then she goes and zooms up on some girl's boobs. Like, they were like saying that trans people weren't important. Like, let's not listen to this interview and let's look at more girls. You know? I know that it's kind of off the edge and it's kind of like, oh, what are you saying? But like, I feel like it's really important to bring out that point. And me and my roommates, of course, because we did have a big discussion before this conversation, we talked about how like it's not fair that they show the negative aspects of being trans, and also that trans people. I know I said I wasn't going to talk a lot about the L Word, but whatever. How Max got his testosterone from like creepy guy in the alleyway, you know, like black market tea. Like, you have to understand that to get tea, like some people do that, but you need like doctors and you need, you know, etc. Like, it's just the way they showed it. They didn't show the before, like the way somebody would transition if they chose to transition if they were trans. They showed like a different. I don't know how to explain it. My last point is going to be about a documentary that I saw about 2 years ago. It was on one of those popular TV channels like NBC. I think NBC's pretty popular. I think it was on there. It was a documentary about two MTFs who became FTMs after. One of them was a model, etc., like male to female model in like the 70s, and it was like all good. But then she decided that, you know, she lived her life and then she transitioned back into male. She was completely happy with it. Good decision. She never regretted any of her life before. The second one, she was very happy in her woman body, but then the church pressured her into transitioning back into male, and she did. And she even talks about afterwards how they regret the decision that they made because they wish that they never had transitioned back into male. These documentaries make it seem like, oh, being trans, you're gonna regret it. But these two examples are completely faulty. The one person was completely happy transitioning back, no problemo. The second one, the church, and they completely regret transitioning back into male after being transitioned into female. So I find that people who do watch this might get a completely wrong view on it. If you're a trans person watching this, like watching those videos, you have to like really see it and see that these people are actually happy, but the way that they make it seem is that they weren't. Anyways, I hope that was enough for this week. I'm sorry if it was long and boring, but I hope it was a bit informational. Informal. Informal. It sounds like it's not formal. I gave you a lot of information. I hope you got that. Okay, I'll see you guys next week.